Welcome to the first edition of the Soup of the Week. This will be kind of a show or kind of a stream where I talk about current events, mainly related to online disinformation, social media, and so on. But I also want to focus on some geopolitical issues. For example, what's going on between Russia, Ukraine, and the United States. My name is Pekka Kallioniemi. I'm probably best known from this project called Vatnik Soup, which is basically It's a collection of research that I have done on pro-Kremlin propagandists and their main narratives and how they operate usually and especially on social media. So if you haven't heard of Vatnik Soup, you can go to vatniksoup.com. Unfortunately, Elon Musk has banned the website, so you cannot link it on X because I wrote too harshly of him. But we just go to vatniksoup.com and check the website. It's a pretty good resource if you're interested in how Russia operates in our information space. But anyway, Soup of the Week, first edition starts now. So how I'm going to proceed, I have a few bookmarks that I'm going to go through, interesting topics that I found, topics that I found interesting in the last week or so, mainly related to social media and disinformation. So let's go to the first topic. This is actually a Vatnik Soup that I did, published 3 days ago. I thought I would discuss a little bit about engagement farming and like how modern social media platforms enable monetization of bullshit. So basically, you can lie, you can say whatever you want, and you can make money out of it. That's the basic concept behind engagement farming. So it's a social media tactic aimed at getting maximum likes, shares, and comments, with truth being optional. So lying is usually, it's very common there. The idea is to spark strong reactions. So basically, well, there's many ways to get people's attention. One of them is, of course, use attractive people, like we see here. This person, Dom Lucre, he's basically in this kind of MAGA sphere. He's part of that, but he usually posts a lot of material that's very controversial. But like as you can see here, he is trying to create rapport by posting an AI-created lady, claiming that this politician is going viral on X for the 4th time. But of course, this person doesn't exist. It's AI. So there's that. Of course, there are a lot of subsets to engagement farming. One of them is rage farming. It's a strategy in which you try to provoke a strong negative emotions. So, I mean, immigration is one of those you use. Again, AI-generated images, say UK needs to be saved from the evil immigrants and so on. So this is extremely popular these days. It works because, well, we are wired to react. We are kind of primitive creatures, so we still react very strongly to shocking content. We still have this lizard brain that reacts to all this stuff very strongly. That's basically why it works so well still. And social media algorithms are pushing this kind of bullshit to the users because how social media algorithms work is that they prioritize engagement over safety. So I mean, this is one post from an account called Defund Israel Now. And as you can see, there's this golden badge here, which means that they pay Elon around $1,000 a month for this. So they can be like an organization, they get better support and so on. But basically, it's just a racist account praising Hitler. So this is perfectly viable monetization option currently on X. So just be racist, make money. But yeah, I would suggest that you read the whole thread at some point if you have time. But also just want to point out that a lot of these people are actually coming from India. So if we look at the monthly incomes in India, they are much lower than, say, in Europe. So getting $1,000 or euros or whatever a month is a huge salary in India. So why not do it? Why not just kind of focus on the pain points in European culture and politics, and then use people to kind of rally around those topics? You can get millions of views and make money. That's basically it's completely cynical approach, and it can be a viable monetization. But anyway, I'm not going to talk more about this topic. Maybe mention this actually was a very interesting article. So there was a person, I'm sorry if I mispronounced the name, but Sayapret Singh, who actually created an AI system that automatically posts thousands and thousands of posts like supportive of MAGA per day. And this is allowed on X. There's not really anything forbidding you from doing that, and he's making money out of this. So he's creating political messages and amplifying others' messages and making money. He probably doesn't really care that much about politics. He's from Canada, so but yeah, this is just an example how to make money with this system, and even nowadays you can even automate it. So I think I saw one post which said that they run 5 accounts with AI and they make around 1,500 a month, and they don't have to do anything. Basically 1 hour of maintenance a month, and then they were selling this package. Okay, you can learn to do this too, and it's a ridiculous system. So whenever you are reading posts on X, just remember that big portion of all comments and posts are actually made by AI. They're just automated bullshit. Yeah, then a little bit about TikTok. There's an interesting suppression going on, alleged suppression going on TikTok, where you cannot look for the keyword protest doesn't actually work. It doesn't bring up anything. So there's a lot of these anti-ICE protests going on in the United States right now. And they're basically trying to circumvent this by using different keywords or search terms like 24-hour music festival, which shows these protests, because you cannot, if you look for protests, it doesn't show you any of these videos, even if you use these keywords in the description and so on. So there is yet once again suppression going on TikTok. Nothing new there. And just briefly about Ukraine. I mean, Ukraine has really found a way to create these extremely effective sanctions packages. So what they do nowadays is they send these swarms of drones to these oil refineries, and basically everything that can make Russia money or weapons, they are trying to destroy with drones. And it's actually been very effective, probably much more effective than EU sanctions packages. So keep going, guys. I think this is something that in the long run, it can be a very good strategy to eventually bring Russia to the negotiation table, and I mean with the serious offer. So yeah, this is good stuff. Yeah, and for the first time ever, I ran into a Indonesian AI slop farm. So these AI generated videos. Let me just show it better. It kind of tries to show that F-22, first of all, is in Ukraine, and they're being destroyed by Russia's fighter jets, which is of course bullshit. But I mean, everybody's now joining all these AI slop farms. It's so easy to make these videos. It takes about 5 seconds to prompt them. There's already so many engines. Probably Google's VO3 is the best known, but there are many others. So it is very easy to make these videos, and they will dominate our information cycle or the news cycle at some point. I mean, Indian mainstream TV already showed one of these AI generated videos, so they are coming and they will be extremely convincing at some point. They already are to many people. Then A little bit of gossip. I think this is interesting. I mean, it was already known that everybody knows that Elon Musk has manipulated the X algorithm so that his posts are being shown to everyone on X, even if you don't follow Elon and you don't really give a shit about him, you'll see his posts unless you block him or mute him. So Sam Altman, who is the CEO of OpenAI, they make ChatGPT, he kind of challenged Elon about this, that Elon manipulates X to benefit himself and his own companies and harms his competitors and people he doesn't like. And then he threatened or challenged Elon to sign an affidavit that he hasn't directed changes to the algorithm. But of course, we know it happens. Everybody, all these platform owners probably do it. They push political agenda, or they try to promote their own products and suppress others. So, for example, on X, if you post a link to external website like YouTube, you get very little views. That's already well known. And at some point, Elon didn't allow the posting of Substack links. So it is happening already, and we know it's happening. But it's of course these are black boxes. We don't get access to the algorithm or the source code. So. It's very difficult to prove, but it's very easy to see that some posts are being promoted much more heavily than others. And then I did a little prediction on the Alaska. So it's Thursday now when we're recording this. The meeting will be tomorrow, and this is basically my prediction what will happen. So I think Putin will say that Russia's goals remain the same. They are not really going to change their goals. They're gonna try and take the 4 Ukrainian oblasts: Kherson, Zaporizhia, Luhansk, and Donetsk, and they want Zelensky out. Basically, that's the goal, and they want their own guys in, like they already have done in Belarus, like they already have done in Georgia, and now they're trying to do the same thing in Moldova. So that's probably what they're trying to do with Ukraine. Basically, it's a capitulation. And I think Trump will praise the Putin and the U.S.-Russia relations, and probably suggest that they should trade more and the sanctions should be lifted, and that basically business is the solution here for the peace, for lasting peace. And I think Trump will also try to get Russia back to the G7 and make it G8 again. So they were kicked out when they annexed Crimea. Putin will not talk. He never talks about Zelensky. He doesn't mention him by name. It's the same with Navalny. He never talked about Navalny. He talked about a person, basically. So, but Trump will probably blame Zelensky for the conflict, but also for prolonging the war. And Trump will put the pressure on Zelensky. So it's basically, we go back to the beginning where he's saying Zelensky is a dictator and so on. But not much will change. US will continue selling weapons to Ukraine via other NATO countries because it's good business. But I don't think there will be any secondary sanctions for example, for India or China for buying Russian oil, and they'll continue doing that. Overall, I think Trump is extremely weak about China still because they need some of the minerals from there and so on. So if they push too much, they'll probably stop getting these minerals. So they have to find a way to get them from somewhere else. I'm not sure if it's possible. So it's going to be Taco Trump for a while there. So they already prolonged the tariffs. So they postponed the sanctions coming in effect for another 90 days because they are basically screwed with China. Already mentioned this, so Russia is spending 100 million, mostly in crypto, to interfere in the parliamentary elections in Moldova that are held next month. The pro-Kremlin parties there, they are now united, and they are trying to beat the pro-EU groups. which are basically led by Maija Sandu. If they succeed, we'll see another Georgia. Basically, they're gonna put in effect probably some kind of foreign agent law. So the Western NGOs and EU are kicked out and so on. But it could be the end of democracy in Moldova. But hopefully they can turn it around. So EU has also invested quite a bit of money in countering these operations by Russia. It's just a funny video where Russian was claiming that this is Russian technological development. The only problem here is that the video is actually from Finland, so it's these delivery robots that will bring you food and so on. I've heard that they also have these in Russia, but I've never seen a video of them actually working. But this was a Russian account that was sharing this and claiming it was in Russia, and it was actually very aggressively amplified by other smaller accounts. Also, Ukraine and the SBU provided some more information about this project Spiderweb. First of all, they used the best of the best drone operators Ukraine has, and they basically didn't know until the morning that it happened what they were going to do. But I think the most interesting thing about the whole operation is that it was supposed to happen on the May 9th, which I think it's the Russian Victory Day, but they couldn't do it because the truck drivers they were supposed to use were so drunk. They were on a drinking binge, and they had to postpone the operation by 1 month. So that's the most Russian thing there is. But yeah, it's still probably the most effective operation of the whole war so far. So much airplanes either destroyed or massively damaged. And then just to end it, let's see who this guy looks like. So Jay Fraser, a Scottish guy, he wanted to fight the woke West, the cultural rot in the West, and he decided to go all the way to Russia, to the traditional and conservative Russia, and he joined the Russian army, where he was basically ridiculed. People were laughing at him. People were making fun of him because he didn't speak any Russian. And now he's basically saying that he's lost faith in Russia and it's no better than any Western country. So there you have it. I think just to conclude here is to say that the whole traditional conservative Russia, it's a myth. There is no such thing. Basically, Russia is as corrupt and cruel society as it can be, and it's extremely hostile towards any foreigner. We've seen it many times. Like there's been a lot of these people who move to Russia. They try to become farmers or whatever. They want to be free and so on. And suddenly the husband is in the front lines going into a meat assault against Ukrainian forces. So it's just it's this myth, and it's basically a massive disinformation narrative that they've been able to inject into some people's minds in the West. But anyway, this was the first episode, a bit crude, but I think we'll just get better from here. Thank you for watching Soup of the Week. I hope that we get some feedback from you. What I would like to hear is topics you would like to hear about, feedback on the commentary and the style, and if you have any suggestions on how to make this whole show better, please let me know below in the comments. So, thanks.